Hello friends, it's Bill, and you are watching Bill's Box of Sound. And yes, it's another Zappa video. I had to make it. I was told by somebody today when I was at a record show that, yeah, I gotta watch some more stuff on your channel, but I'm not that big a Zappa fan though. Well, okay, that's it. Not everybody's a Zappa fan, but I do other stuff other than just Zappa. But this one's heavy, heavy Zappa. Yes, it's a review, because there was a huge release. And it was released on, I believe, March 18th was the shipping date where everything arrived, even though in the press releases it says that this release has been available since January of 2022. It came out this week in March. Okay? We're talking about this boxed set, The Mothers, 1971. This is an 8 CD extravaganza with a very nice, generous booklet of all sorts of notes, pictures, and everything else. Now, this review is also going to encompass the review of 2 3 LP sets that came out at the same time. One is the 50th anniversary expanded edition of The Mothers, Fillmore East, June 1971. And the other one is the Rainbow concert of The Mothers. That was in London, England, on December 10th, 1971, and also the last concert of this tour, even though it wasn't supposed to be. Now, I want to thank you for watching, and if you are enjoying what you're watching, please hit the subscribe button and like this video. Please like the video, and if you want notifications, just hit the bell. Now, that's all the advertising I'll do at this point, and I really do want to thank you for watching this video. Now, these concerts, all in all, there are 7 concerts in this box. Okay? And you can see what the hype sticker says right here. What I will do is I will take a picture of it and make a freeze frame of it. So, what's on here? Well, there are 4 complete concerts from beginning to end of the Fillmore East. Here's disc number 1, which has show number 1 in its completely from June 5th, 1971. Now, all of these 4 concerts make up everything that is on the original album of The Mothers, Fillmore East, June 1971. Here's my original copy right there. And you're going to find in here stuff that's not on that album. For example, Shove It Right In, a suite from 200 Motels, which includes She Painted Up Her Face, half a dozen provocative squats, and the song Shove It Right In. There's also Concentration Moon and the Sanzini Brothers, which Flo and Eddie, after they left the Mothers, did continue to use in their act, an alteration of the Sanzini Brothers sketch. There's also Billy the Mountain. There are several versions of Billy the Mountain in here. Now, you're thinking, if you don't know about this box already, you're saying, well, wait a second, it wasn't Billy the Mountain mainly on this album right here, Just Another Band from LA? Yes, it was. This is the performance from the Pauley Pavilion at UCLA. But Billy the Mountain was performed a lot in 1971 on this tour. And here we go with disc number 2, with show number 2, June 5th, 1971. And this has, oh, wait a second, I forgot to complete going over the first show. Yeah, okay, Billy the Mountain, and then King Kong. There's also several versions of King Kong, which are awesome. King Kong is all instrumental, except for Flo and Eddie sometimes singing the melodies. And it's got great solos from Frank, from Ian Underwood, from Ainsley Dunbar on drums. And let's go through this band, shall we? We're talking about Frank Zappa on guitar and dialogue, Mark Volman on lead vocals and dialogue, Howard Kalin lead vocals and dialogue, and Mark and Howard were from the Turtles, and in this band are also known as Flo and Eddie. Ian Underwood on woodwinds, keyboards, and vocals, Ainsley Dunbar on drums, Jim Pons on bass, vocals, and dialogue, and also is from the Turtles, and Bob Harris on the second keyboard and vocals. And on some of these shows, Don Preston guests on Mini Moog. Now back to show 2. Show 2 does not have a focus on the Status Back Baby, Concentration Moon part of the show. The show 2 is where we get into the meat of the groupie routine that was famously on the album Fillmore East. They go to Peaches and Regalia, Tears Began to Fall, Shove It Right In, and then they go into Billy the Mountain. They play all of that, and then they do the Mud Shark. And What Kind of Girl Do You Think We Are? Buona Dick, Latex Slur Beef, and Willie the Pimp. And that concert ends with the rest of the groupie routine. And also, they play King Kong and Lonesome Electric Turkey, which is featured on the original June 71 album, is in here, sandwiched in between the beginning and the end of King Kong. Then there's the third show, which is June 6th, for early show. They do an improvisation that's 4 minutes long. Peaches, Tears Began to Fall, Shove It Right In, and then they go into the Status Back Baby, Concentration Moon, Sanzini Brothers, Mom and Dad thing, and that's that cover for disc 3. And then they go into Billy the Mountain and do all of that. This is a disc 4, by the way. Also, show 1 on June 6th ends with Chunga's Revenge, a 14-minute version of Chunga's Revenge. Lots of great soloing, many, many great solos by Frank and company on this. Then there's the second show, which is the last show at the Fillmore, and the very momentous show indeed. Starts with Peaches, goes into Tears Began to Fall, Shove It Right In, and then they do Billy the Mountain, and then they go into the whole groupie routine. Little House I Used to Live In, Mud Shark, What Kind of Girl Do You Think We Are, Buona Dick, Latex Slur Beef, Willie the Pimp, and then Do You Like My Car, and Happy Together. And that finishes that. Now, from these 4 concerts, Frank pretty much put together the Fillmore East album. These concerts on this boxed set are not the same mixes that Frank used, and therefore the edits are going to sound completely different. There are no edits. It's the complete shows from start to finish. These were remixed by Craig Parker Adams. Good job. And they are really high fidelity mixes of these 16-track tapes. Now, at the end of the 4th show of what put together this, there was a little surprise on stage. It was the guest appearance of John Lennon and Yoko Ono, and it's very famous. And it's also been talked about a lot that the tapes, the original tapes for this encore with John and Yoko guesting with the Mothers, has been lost for years, or it's only in the possession of John Lennon. Well, through the kind graces of the John Lennon estate and Yoko Ono, they were able to get high definition digital masters of the 16-track tape and remix it. And it's never sounded as good as it did before. As a matter of fact, Yoko's vocals are starting to sound pretty darn good in comparison to what we're used to hearing. Maybe it's just the fact that I've been listening to it all these years and Yoko's starting to sound better to me. A lot of times, I'd rather watch a small animal get tortured rather than listen to Yoko's vocals. And that's the same that way with a lot of people. But I give Yoko license. She's an artist. She knows what she's doing, and she has a commitment to her art. So that's fine. Yoko can keep on doing what she's doing, or if she's no longer doing it, I give kudos to her for doing what she's done all these years. She made John happy. So she's part of this historical concert. So at this point in the game, I'm going to stop and show you the new 3-record set. The Mothers, Fillmore East, June 1971, the 3-record set. And it's a 3-fold here with, of course, the liner notes by Joe Travers, the Vaultmeister himself, who did a freaking great job on this album. And if you buy the CD box and you want to have everything, you must buy this album. Why is that? Aren't all these performances on here? Yes, in newly remixed versions. But on the first record, you've got the original album, start to finish, from the original analog tapes. On the second record, you've got the encore with John and Yoko, but this is the version that was mixed and edited by Frank Zappa. This is taken from analog tape as well. Side 4, solos from King Kong on June 5th, show 2. That's the second show of the 4. And this is also a Frank Zappa mix and a Frank Zappa edit. It's a little bit different than what's on the CD boxed set and not available digitally at this point in time. Side 5, Billy the Mountain, the first half. Side 6, Billy the Mountain, concluded. Now, this is a completely different version of Billy the Mountain that exists on any of the other stuff here. This version of Billy the Mountain was mixed and edited by Frank Zappa, and there are overdubs of keyboards, extra vocals, different effects. This was originally supposed to be part of the album Just Another Band from LA, just in case you forgot. But Just Another Band from LA ended up being a single record. And this whole construction of Billy the Mountain has appeared on bootlegs in some form or another, but here it is in all of its analog splendor. And then on the last side, you've got the homemade radio spot that the Mothers did. And, you know, a quick aside here, I know that there are a lot of Zappa fans that do not like the Flo and Eddie years. I get that. It's a lot of salacious jokes, but some of them are pretty damn funny. But they were great singers, and even when they weren't singing, the band was top-notch. So you've got lots of instrumental as well as vocal pyrotechnics going on here. So you might want to push aside your dislike of Flo and Eddie for a minute and check out everything that's on here. It's amazing. Okay? Now, last things on the album, in addition to the homemade radio spot, it's got the Tears Began to Fall and Junior Mints Boogie single. One of the hardest to find pieces of Frank Zappa vinyl in the entire collection. Now, I've got different versions of this. I've got a radio promo single that has the mono and stereo version of Tears Began to Fall, and I also have a European, I believe a British release of the Tears Begin to Fall single with the Junior Mints Boogie on the flip side. That was actually a guitar solo that was done during the Willie the Pimp part, and it was recorded at Detroit, Michigan on a cassette. So, the mastering pyrotechnics, there's that word again, the mastering mastery of John Polito took needle drops of these and made them sound better. So, the radio spots as well as outtakes for the radio spots are on the CD box set, as well as the single versions of Tears Began to Fall and Junior Mints Boogie. Those are on the CD box. But except for those last 3 tracks, everything else on this vinyl set is for this vinyl set only and not in the CD box. That's why it's very important that if you are a completist with your Frank Zappa collection, you've got to get not only this box, but you also have to get this vinyl. Back to the CD box, we're going to go to disc 6 again, where after the remixed version, the best sounding version of the John and Yoko Encore from June 6th, 1971, we've got a bonus hybrid concert, which was made by Frank on his portable 4-track recording machine. And these were recorded at the State Farm Show Arena in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, and also the Watrous Armory in Scranton, Pennsylvania. And these were recorded on June 1st and 3rd, 1971. It's a hybrid concert because I guess the different qualities of the tapes that exist. The sound quality of these are not quite as good as the Fillmore tapes, but they are good nonetheless. There's some distortion of the vocals in some parts, but they fix it eventually, and it is a unique concert. It's got Peaches, Tears, Shove It Right In, then it goes to the Status Bank Baby, Concentration Moon, Sanzini Brothers, Mom and Dad, and it's got their version of the song My Boyfriend's Back with new lyrics. And then they go into something called Tiny Sick Tears, which is only 1 minute and 12 seconds. It's not the same thing that appeared on You Can't Do That on the Stage Anymore, where they're doing this dun, 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 and Frank's going on a monologue of tiny sick tears and drinking from the carton of milk, the box of milk. And then he goes into a parody of the Doors' The End monologue. It's not that at all. This is recorded at these 2 Pennsylvania venues, and it's more a parody of the song 96 Tears by Question Mark and the Mysterians. But this time it's called Tiny Sick Tears. Then we go into a fantastic version of Call Any Vegetable, which would eventually wind up in a different form on this album. And then they go into Billy the Mountain. And at the end of this Billy the Mountain, they don't do the part where a mountain is something you don't want to fuck with. They don't do that on this version. This just has extended solos from Ian Underwood on sax, and we got Ainsley, and we got Frank, etc., etc. And we've also got a 9-minute version of Willie the Pimp, and a outro of King Kong to end the concert. Whew, that's a lot. But there's more in this 8 CD box set, which played from start to finish is almost 10 hours long. That's why it's taken me a whole week to listen to this. We get to the Rainbow Theatre concert in London, England. Now, the music on these CDs, on this section of the box set, the Rainbow Concert, are the same as the recordings on this box. Not box, this 3LP set. Let's open this up. Another 3LP extravaganza. There's the band. And there's liner notes, not only from Joe Travers, but there is liner notes from Eddie Kramer. Yes, the Eddie Kramer who recorded all of Jimi Hendrix's stuff. Eddie Kramer mixed the tapes, the original 8-track tapes that were from this concert. And this is a very historic concert. Why is it a historic concert? Because this ended up being the last show of the Flo and Eddie band. Here's why, if you don't know already. Those who know already, please bear with us. On December 4th, the Mothers were performing in Montreux, Switzerland. And these performances had been captured on a bootleg called Swiss Cheese and Fire, which was at one point in time in print and available as a Beat the Boots bootleg release. So at this concert in Montreux, Switzerland, they were just working on King Kong, and I believe Ian Underwood was in the middle of his solo. And as the song that was written about it by Deep Purple states, some stupid with a flare gun burned the place to the ground. There was a fire, everybody evacuated, and the hall burned to the ground, destroying all of the Mothers' equipment. Now, they had more tour dates booked. Instead of stopping the tour, they rented and or purchased new equipment. And the first concert of this resumed tour was right here, Rainbow Theatre, England, December 10th, 1971. So things had not been going that well for the Mothers that month. And not only that, they didn't have enough time to do a proper sound check that day. So they had to work on the sound for the concert as they went along. And Frank keeps on announcing this. And despite the fact that there are sound hurdles and they're trying to get comfortable playing the instruments, they do turn in quite a very good show, or a really dynamite show, as you might say. There's a different sound on Frank's guitar. There's a different sound coming from the keyboards. And also the band differs just a little bit here. There's no Bob Harris on second keyboard. It's Don Preston on keyboards and electronics, and Ian Underwood on keyboards and alto sax. So, this concert starts with a expanded improvisation called Zante Serenade, goes into Peaches, Tears Began to Fall, goes into Shove It Right In. And whenever there's a interlude of in-between song chatter that is significant to the show, it's included on a lot of these Zappa archival things, and it's given a title and it's put into quotes. So this one's called Pain in the Ass, and you'll find out why if you listen to it. And then they go into the beginning part of the Divan oratorio. Now, those of you who have You Can't Do That on Stage Anymore sampler, or You Can't Do That on Stage Anymore Volume 1, are familiar with this. And no, they don't do the entire piece as they did on the Carnegie Hall album, but they go into the first version of Sofa, and then they do Pound for a Brown in two different parts, and they have an improvisation in the middle called Super Grease, which, as a matter of fact, is credited to Frank, Mark, Howard, Jim, and Ainsley. And then they end side 3 with Sleeping in a Jar. They come back with Wonderful Wino. They do Charlena and Cruising for Burgers, great versions all. And then it comes to the end of the concert, where they're talking about what they're going to do. And somebody asks for Billy the Mountain, and Frank says, we don't have enough time for that. And then somebody says King Kong. Yeah, let's say King Kong, even though I was not going to play it. We're going to play it. So they do a great version of King Kong, 11 minutes on side 5 and 10 minutes on side 6. It's all one continuous recording on the box set. And then they do a quick encore. They do the Beatles song, I Want to Hold Your Hand. At that point in time, a crazed lunatic got up out of the audience, ran up on stage, and pushed Frank Zappa off of the stage. You could hear it. It's chilling. And Frank falls off of the stage, bounces off a wall, and goes into the orchestra pit. And he spent most of the next year in a wheelchair. A lot of people thought he was dead. So all of these factors combined make this a truly historic concert. Now, it's rather sad that Frank was in a wheelchair for the better part of a year, but think about the music that he was able to make as a result of it. The Grand Wazoo, Waka Jawaka, 2 wonderful albums. And these are wonderful albums as well. Now, going back to the John and Yoko encore from the Fillmore concerts, if you have this album by John Lennon and Yoko Ono sometime in New York City, there is a second record inside. And the album looks like this. Kind of strangely looks a lot like this album here, where they just put together their record and did what they wanted to on it. And it's a completely different mix. What's on the other side of those? So there's a live jam on one side. Oh, yeah. And the second side is a different concert where they do Cold Turkey and Don't Worry, Kyoko. Or Kyoko. Sorry if I mispronounced it. And this came out in 1972. But if you've got this, the mix is not the same. And the mix on the CD box is completely new and completely wonderful. Very audiophile by comparison. And as I stated before, the version on here is from Frank's original rough mix of the encore. Also, if you have the Playground Psychotics CD, there's a lot of stuff from both the Fillmore shows and the Rainbow concert on here. Also, on You Can't Do That on Stage Anymore, Volume 3 is part of the King Kong performance from the Rainbow concert. So that's how all the patches and puzzle pieces come together. But this is one hell of a release. The Mothers 1971 boxed set. One other quick thing before I conclude. As far as boxed sets go, this boxed set is second only to the Roxy Performances boxed set, which chronicles all of the concerts, almost all the concerts, that made up the album Roxy and Elsewhere. But this release has a similar scope where you will hear how the album was made, all the bits and pieces that got spliced together for the original album without having the actual original album there. As I said, it's almost 10 hours long. 9 hours, 53 minutes. It's a lot. But as far as box sets go, this is one of the best. For Zappa box sets, that is. Buy it direct, buy it collect, but buy it today. And that's all for me. As you can tell, I really enjoyed this box. I love having it all for the historical perspective, as well as the fact that all the versions are different and pretty damn wonderful. Once again, if you can't stand Flo and Eddie, you may not like this box, but it's great nonetheless. Just wondering what else is up the sleeve of the Zappa Trust as to what they're going to put together. Only Joe and Amit know for sure. And of course, their inner circle. But keep up the fantastic work, guys. I couldn't have asked for a better representation of the 1971 Mothers. They've been represented in other forms, such as the Carnegie Hall show, and also the aforementioned Swiss Cheese Fire bootleg, which eventually got legitimized on the Beat the Boots box number 2. What else is there to say? Except I had a great time. Hope you did too. Keep on watching, keep on subscribing. Go listen to some Frank Zappa, even if it's not from this box. Take care, everybody. Have a great day.